All right, welcome in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is 7 a.m., Tuesday, April 28th, right here on Jocks. Busy day today. We'll continue talking a little bit of NFL draft. We've got Field Yates coming up at 8:20, Matt Miller at 9 a.m. That'll wrap up most of our draft discussion as we'll recap it with them, begin to look ahead to next year with them as well. Still a lot to get to, but some big news in college football yesterday. It really is the gift that keeps on giving. With where we are in today's college football, it's amazing how the news cycle seemingly never ends. Now, you don't always want it to be a guy that's potentially in trouble and somebody that's going to potentially cost themselves opportunities or money in some cases. But this one looks like it has the chance to be both. As Texas Tech announces yesterday, quarterback Brennan Sorsby has checked himself into a residential treatment program for a gambling addiction. This is a young man, Greg, that completed 63% of his passes through 45 touchdowns, ran for 18 more, signed an alleged $5+ million NIL deal to leave Cincinnati, go to Texas Tech. Also alleged thousands of bets online, some placed on Indiana football while he was on the roster in 2022, which is essentially the ultimate no-no in this entire situation. You go further into what this could mean from the NCAA. You do those things, you're looking at punishment anywhere in the range of 30 to 50% of a season, permanent loss of your eligibility. Not a great situation because this is one of the few things left that I do believe the NCAA is going to walk out on a limb and die on. There are a lot of things that we see that are from an academic standpoint, from an eligibility as far as continuing your eligibility standpoint, transfer standpoint, that they've been able to snake and they haven't been able to control, and they haven't really been able to keep under their grips. This is something they're not going to choose to work with lightly. This is the one of the few things that the NCAA, Greg, I think still has a little bit of control over and is still going to look to prove a point on. And it's going to be interesting to see where this goes for Texas Tech.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good situation at all. And if there are receipts, and with it being digital and all sort of stuff, like you can probably find some receipts. Don't know exactly how you go about getting them, especially when you don't have subpoena power. But this is the one thing we were talking about before the show. It's like, as an athlete, you know that there's one thing that you cannot do. There are things that you would get in trouble for if you want to engage in illegal drugs, if you want to engage in behaviors that are as out of the norm, like that's you can get away with that stuff. The one thing you know for sure that you cannot do is gamble on the sport or on the team that you're participating on. Like, it is a no-no. It is the ultimate no-no. So really unfortunate news yesterday. But the access that these kids have now to action, the access that these kids have to be able to just place bets at the tip of their fingers, it's different. It's unique. There is a casino in Cincinnati that I used to frequent as a player all the time.
Oh boy.
Never played sports, but guess what? Played an awful lot of blackjack, and it was 5 minutes from campus. So like it's right there. It's at your fingertips. And it's a tough thing to see a story like this, because this young man, depending on what happens with it, I mean, we could have seen him play his final college football snap, and that's really unfortunate. It takes millions of dollars out of his pocket and ends all eligibility before things really get going this season for Texas Tech.
You would imagine that Texas Tech is protected there if something were to take place from the NIL deal that's in place. I don't know how much of that was front-loaded. I don't know how much of that's already been handed over. I don't know how much they would actually ask for back if it were an NCAA situation like this. I have no idea where that's going to go.
He didn't play for him, so he's out. Like, if he doesn't play, he's got to give it all back.
Which is not comfortable.
No.
For probably anybody in his situation or a lot of these financial situations. And then you look at it from the standpoint of actual Texas Tech. Number 2 quarterback Will Hammond is coming off a torn ACL last year. So complicates things even further. He has returned to throwing in the last 10 days. Optimism that he could be healthy against Abilene Christian week 1. I would imagine even if he's healthy, it's Abilene Christian, you give him an extra week. That's one that I don't want to rush a guy into live action if it's even close.
Get the run game going?
Coming back from an ACL, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Number 3 quarterback Lloyd Jones III appeared in one game last year, and then you have Tulsa transfer Kirk Francis that's there as well. But this is all those names that we just mentioned are very different than Brendan Sorsby. Brendan Sorsby's a ball player.
Really good.
A guy dual threat, can give you a little bit of the power run game, not afraid of contact. Really good at improvising, making things happen outside of the pocket. Just when you watch him, you feel like he's a bit of a gamer and has been very successful, and somebody who was going to sort of change the dynamic for Texas Tech based on what they were losing. This could be beyond detrimental to what their season could look like coming up as well, GMAC.
Yeah, I mean, it's a killer. I mean, you put a ton of – what was it that led Texas Tech to coming up short in the bowl game and performing the way they did offensively in the bowl game? I mean, it was bad at the quarterback spots. You overcorrect this year. You go out, you get one of the top quarterbacks available in the transfer portal, a guy that was this close to going to LSU, a guy that was this close to going a few different other places. You win the lottery. The transfer portal lottery as it relates to Brendan Sorsby, and you're thinking, all right, we're in great shape at the spot. Finally, we get the upgrade that we needed to get us over the hump after Baron Morton just couldn't quite get us there last year, and then this happens. Really unfortunate, and I'll be curious. I mean, to me, I don't know when a timeline. The NCAA just doesn't seem to act very swiftly. I'm not sure they have the manpower or the resources, but in a case like this, when eligibility is in question, I mean, I would think they could probably make a decision here probably pretty soon, no?
I think there's a lot of information that's going to have to be gathered, though. You don't want to make it quickly without all the information that possibly could be in front of you. So here's the thing. You tell me, when we look at this story, we talk about this story. How do we get past this if it's real? According to ESPN sources and Pete Thamel, Sorsby bet on Indiana football while redshirting for Indiana as a true freshman in 2022, a season which he played in one single game as a reserve. The bets at 22 per sources were on Indiana to win. None came in a game in which he appeared. You tell me, if that's proven, how we're getting past that. He bet on his team while on the roster. And I love the parentheses. We bet on him to win. Okay.
In fairness, that does make a difference.
He has some morals.
That does make a difference. I mean, if you're betting on him to lose, that's really troubling.
Totally different.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you.
I do understand that.
Like all joking aside, like that really does like at least a little bit of a better feeling, I suppose.
It is, but if you bet on a game
involving the team that you're playing with, I understand. Like that is the ultimate
that can't
no-no.
happen.
Correct. I understand that. But them differentiating him betting on them or against them does soften it a hair. I know it's a no-no. I get it. If you imagine him saying, no, I'm going to fade my squad today, that'd be really bad.
What? I thought it'd be a close game. I thought we'd win. I just didn't know if we'd cover.
It's just, you know.
If that's real, what's the difference between this and the Iowa State situation a couple of years ago?
I don't remember the Iowa State situation's details. All I know is that the guys that got busted before it didn't play anymore. The quarterback, I believe, is still in the UFL.
Yes, because we had one of his games 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think you get past that if it happens. So,
I mean, there's ways around it, perhaps. Like, I don't know.
Hunter Deckers. There's a case involving 366 bets. NCAA enacted severe penalties for wagering on their own school sports, including permanent loss of eligibility. There
was some the NCAA adopted not too long ago, though. It said essentially you can bet on pro sports. They did that, a year ago, 2 years ago. So the NCAA has softened a bit, but college sports, in particular on your own team, the only thing I could say is it's 4 years old. Like, is there some type of statute of limitations here? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. That'd be the only thing. I mean, I think he's going to miss time at the very least.
No, it's not. There's no statute of limitations on this. He's still a college athlete.
I understand that. But if you look at it being 4 years old and the fact that he's played a ton of games since then, this is the first we've heard of it.
Yeah. Hold on a second. You feel like the NCAA has ever had a problem retroactively punishing people for games they've been a part of?
I mean, I just feel like
Cincinnati, get ready to lose all those wins.
You think that's going to happen?
I don't know. But if he I believe right now, if it is proven that he plays bets on Indiana while on roster, there is a good chance he is going to be deemed an ineligible player from that point moving forward. Therefore, all of those games in which he played for Cincinnati, or if he played for Indiana after that game as well, he's going to be deemed an ineligible player, and they're going to have to forfeit those games.
It wouldn't be that surprising to me if that's what ultimately happens. I think that's probably the most likely scenario. I'm just trying to think of a way. Is there any way for him to play this year? Honestly,
I think there's a way because of the lack of power that the NCAA currently holds. Yes,
and the way that I guess who would represent him in this case? Would he have because if you're Texas Tech, it's like, do you protect him, or like do you kind of keep a little bit of a?
Depends on how all in you are on this season.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. Like I feel like if you're Texas Tech, like you don't really want to get too involved with this. Like, hey Brendan, like we want you to be our quarterback, but like you're kind of on your own here, bud. Like this is before you got here, so. Like we can't let you drag us down or something like that, or involve us with something that could involve eligibility and loss of future revenues.
That's fair. Yeah.
So like, I don't know how you handle it.
I do think you can support him without putting yourself in danger. Yeah.
You can support him, but then again, if you start going to fight this fight and then you, by the way, it should be a little bit on Texas Tech on like doing due diligence and stuff. Like, was this known? Like, I don't know. It's just a very weird situation. It's really the first of this significance with a guy that is truly high profile. With all due respect to Hunter Deckers, I don't think I ever watched him play more than 4 snaps, like when he was at Iowa State. And I don't recall the details. It was so early and it was nuanced and it was different. Now you have a playoff contender and a Heisman Trophy caliber quarterback and a high profile transfer portal player that everybody wanted.
High profile NIL guy too, as far as
huge,
the money that's being exchanged.
Massive. So it's just, this is a little bit of the first of its kind. And I don't know like who's to blame here. Obviously the player. What about, is Cincinnati involved here? Like, does Texas Tech bear some responsibility? How quickly can the NCAA get their ducks in a row? Like, who's going to be doing the due diligence on this? Like, if there's no subpoena power, what if Brendan Sorsby said, no, you can't have my phone or whatever? Like, can they demand that you give it over? I don't know. I don't know any of the answer to these things.
In a negotiated resolution, Jace Heacock, Chase Clark, Michael Dreyer, Kyle Highland, and Mason Williams acknowledged they knowingly violated NCAA sports wagering bylaws. All are subject to a 1-year show cause order through April 24th, 2026. That was also from the Iowa State case. So Heacock, by the way, was the son of the defensive coordinator at the time and also on the field, or also on the roster, which is goes even further to I think the thing that we have not really spoken on, as far as if it's your team, if it's against your team, whatever it is, it's the amount of information in which you hold.
Yeah.
That you're placing a wager on that is going to be extremely problematic.
For sure.
And that's beyond the NCAA, in which that's going to be extremely problematic.
For sure.
Which is one of the reasons you're not going to get away with it. If you have that kind of information and you're trying to snake something in like this, that you're going to get caught. You are. It's going to happen. 800-239-9569 if you want to get in. 800-239-WJOX. I will say this. I'm surprised that there are not more of these. The rate in which you're around it, the ease in which it can now be done, not only the rate in which you're around it as far as other athletes, other sports, other players, other teams, hearing things, seeing things, just in and out of the facility and around campus, but the other people on campus that are doing this now at the rate that they are. I mean, we know how much this has grown on college campuses. And I'm not talking about athletes. I'm talking about regular students. So I'm actually surprised we don't get more of these, to be honest with you. But maybe there are more to come.
And yeah, maybe. And maybe maybe there have been more and they're not as high profile, so they don't get the coverage. I don't know. All I know is that there were a few things that were absolutely 100% like leveled upon you as a student athlete. Don't do drugs, don't gamble. Like that was pretty much it. Literally anything else was fair game. All right, be responsible in class, go to class, like be home by curfew, all this other stuff. Like that was understood. But like the two things, it's like, all right, you do these two things, you are off the team potentially. Like drugs, gambling. It was like our day one meeting. So I think the reason why they're not quite as
Prevalent.
Prevalent is because that is like hammered into your brain from an early age. Like you can't gamble, and that is the one. And in the NFL especially, like we used to have meetings. Like, all right, hey, dude, you want to end your career? Gamble. Go ahead. Like, I'm just like, no, I'm not want to end my career. Like, I'm making X a year. Like, no chance I'm going to risk that to make $25 on a DraftKings bet. Like, that ain't happening. And I mean, I know that there's several guys. Well, we make 12 grand on a prop bet or whatever it might be. Like, who cares? Like, you're making 50 grand a game. Like, why would I risk that? Like, no chance. So, I don't know, man. To
Why
me,
would NBA players making $30 million a year guaranteed have underground gambling rings that they're a part of trying to steal from people?
Probably got in too deep. No idea. But it's a really tough deal. I mean, it's a really tough deal. And I just don't understand how these guys can make these mistakes. I really don't understand it.
It's this one is going to be contorted in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of aspects of this one that obviously we're going to watch that are going to be interesting to see how the NCAA handles it. As Greg said, how Texas Tech handles it, and we don't know exactly where it's going to go. Now, Deckers was released by Iowa State. What I cannot find is ultimately what the NCAA's decision was about his eligibility, and that's what I'm kind of trying to look up and find out, because I don't remember what that was. I don't remember if there was a 1-year ban, just a 1-year show cause, a lifetime ban. I don't know. I do know that he pled guilty to underage gambling. Remember, he used his mom's name on his DraftKings account, and he also bet on an Iowa State football game while he was on the roster. So it's, once again, can't do it. You just can't do that.
Can't do it.
And it was hammered to us when I was in school. Like Greg said, same thing with him. And for us, it wasn't just college football or your team. It was anything. Any gambling. Couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
Ryan in Springville wants to talk Sorsby gambling. Welcome into the show, Ryan.
Hey, thanks, guys. So I'm a Texas Tech alum, so obviously I'm sickened by it. But at the same time, first of all, I hope he gets the help he needs and he gets over this. Second thing is, I am sick of it. Like, we finally get a chance to make a stake to be really great in college football, or at least to have a great season and possibly win a national championship. And then I have a feeling it's not going to go that way next year because of that. And then the third thing is, like, I personally wouldn't want someone like that on my team, kind of like what Greg was saying. That's the one thing. That was one of the biggest things you cannot do, and you did it. And so someone with that kind of character, that kind of integrity, yeah, I wouldn't want that on my team. So maybe Will Hannon will come back and be great for us like he kind of was before he got hurt. We'll see. But, yeah, I'm just sickened by the whole thing as a Texas Tech alum.
Well, it's understandable. And as I said, I'm surprised we haven't heard more of this just because of how easy it is. Deckers, by the way, had I think he was looking for extra eligibility when this happened, and he had that denied by the NCAA. The NCAA denied his final years of eligibility because of a single $15 bet placed on Iowa State football in 2021, a game in which he played as the backup quarterback. Cannot happen. Can't happen.
Can't do it.
Now, he was able to play at Iowa Western Community College after that.
Yeah. It's also interesting. I feel like in the court of public opinion, everybody is against the NCAA. Like, everybody thinks the NCAA is the worst. And how often do people side with the NCAA in a case like, just any case, by the way?
A case.
Any case ever. Like, when have people ever been like, all right, the NCAA is right on that? Like, they take away
0.001% of the time.
Very rare, right? I think even when it comes to gambling, everyone's like, all right, I get it. Like, you can't do that. Like, name one gambling story that's ever happened and the NCAA has gotten involved and took away a player's eligibility and there was sympathy on behalf of the player. Like, very rarely. Like, it's a very black and white thing in the court of public opinion too.
I can remember the Brad Bohannon situation. The first wave of callers were oh, it's a meaningless bet on an MLB game. That's what this, that, or, oh, no. Then we figure out, oh, it's a college game. Okay,
yeah.
can't do that. And then you start hearing about the text message. And then even the most diehard Alabama fans, like, yeah, no, can't.
Get him out.
No.
Yeah.
We're done.
Out of there.
Can't do it. This is not something specifically when it involves your sport and then further your team. I haven't heard anybody go to bat for those folks. And I don't think we will.
Can't.
And you do have to sort of turn the page and begin to look at this upcoming season because this is a college football playoff contender. As you said, there are individual awards that Sorsby were most likely going to be up for. Where is that now? We do know tomorrow, Greg, we got a golf tournament coming to Birmingham.
We do. Regions coming up tomorrow. The weather looks a little dicey right now, but hopefully it'll clear out of here today, and we will have a full day of fun and activities tomorrow at the Drummond Company Celebrity Pro-Am. I'll be out there teeing it up alongside Coach Saban, Charles Barkley, Nate Oates, Riley Green, Pete Golding, and several others. It's going to be a lot of fun. The party will continue all throughout the weekend. Saturday night, there's a live concert from Blues Traveler immediately following play, and all you need is a tournament ticket. It's the Regents Tradition presented by Coca-Cola. It's going to be out there at Greystone, and all these legends of the golf community will be right here in our community. Major champions, fan favorites, so many great things to experience this week around the tournament. Kids under 15 get in free. Makes for the perfect outing for the whole family, and its primary beneficiary is the Children's of Alabama. So don't miss one of Greater Birmingham's most beloved signature events. Get your tickets today at regentstradition.com. That's regentstradition.com. We'll see you out there.
What could this mean for Texas Tech's upcoming season? Also, the college football playoff field. We'll discuss that next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Talking Texas Tech. Brendan Sorsby checked himself into a residential treatment program for a apparent gambling addiction. Thousands of bets have somehow now been uncovered. One particular bet placed on Indiana football while he was on the roster in 2022. And that one, Greg, probably the one that got the NCAA's attention the most. But there is a fair question as to, we are currently in 2026.
Yeah.
How did these just all of a sudden pop up out of nowhere?
I don't know. That's one of the biggest questions I have is like, why now? Where did it come from? You know, how did this, did finally it get to the point where there's enough information to make a case? Like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to any of these things. So to me, I'm just very curious about the timeline. I'm very curious about the details and the fact gathering and when it came down, because after spring ball, after transferring, like all these other things, like the timing is really unique.
It is. So we also think about the timing of where they are with Will Hammond coming off of a torn ACL. That could be problematic for this football team. Where your quarterback situation is going to be now at the end of spring practice, moving forward, what that's going to look like. So you look at just this team's schedule, what they're going to be up against this year. Abilene Christian to open it. We mentioned that in the first segment of the show. They're at Oregon State. They get Houston, a team that I've already thrown out there I think is going to be really good this year. Sam Houston, at Colorado, a week off, and then you get Arizona State at home. At Cincinnati, oh, that one could be interesting. Arizona, West Virginia, at Oak State, at Baylor, TCU. Doesn't feel like a playoff schedule, number one. Last year, we touted the Big 12 as one of the most competitive leagues in college football. It's hard for me to see it in a similar fashion this year. I think we were coming off Arizona State being really good, Colorado being really good. I think we thought maybe West Virginia was going to be a team that was going to be, and Baylor both were going to be teams that were better than they were. Oak State probably going to take a step this year. I'm not 100% sure on what to anticipate from Cincinnati this upcoming season. So it doesn't feel like a daunting schedule, one that they can't find a way to manage, but you lose your starting quarterback, and obviously things are going to be very different.
Yeah, and very, very different. And so much of what Texas Tech was building towards this year was centered around Brendan Sorsby. Like so much of it. And it's in large part due to the overcorrection created after last year's playoff exit. And they get the first round bye. They look great all year for the most part. They really did. I mean, they had a really, really terrific season last year. And sure enough, the one thing that came up short, like the defense was great. The D-line was great. They were able to do some things against Oregon, but it was their quarterback who was all over the map in that game. And I like Baron Morton. He's a good, solid player. But he wasn't a game changer. So they recognize that and say, all right, if we're going to take the next step as a program, we got to have a dude at quarterback that can flat out take us to the next level. In comes Sorsby. And now that's totally up in the air. And Hammond, by the way, if he's available, he's a good player. He made some plays last year. He actually came off the bench when Baron Morton got injured a couple times, once against Utah in particular when he led them. They were tied at halftime. Hammond comes in, lights it up. They end up pulling away. I think they won that game by 20-plus points. So there's a lot to like about Hammond if available. But the knee is, of course, the ultimate outlier. We don't know what his time frame is for return.
And here's the thing I think people forget sometimes when you're talking about getting healthy from an injury perspective. You have the timeline of when you're healthy, but never is it discussed what the timeline is after the knee is healthy that it takes for you to get ready to actually play football again. And it's getting to full strength. Yes, that's one thing. But then you have to begin your preparation, actually go out there and play football. And that's a different thing. So even if the rehabilitation ends up right there before week one, I don't know if that makes you ready to go out and play a full speed football game. Now you can speak to it more as a quarterback than we can. But I would imagine that, all right, you're medically clear, week 4, 2 weeks before the game. Is that enough time to actually get ready to go out there and play college football? I don't know.
I've never had a knee, knock on wood. So been fortunate. Had a PCL, but that was different than an ACL. Of course, ACL, requires surgery, rehab, months of getting things right. But the biggest hurdle that you have to clear is mental. Based on the people I've talked to that've come back from an ACL injury. It's really mostly mental. It's like, when do you trust the knee again? When do you feel good about the knee again? When do you feel comfortable planting, moving? And Hammond is a runner. So there's part of that mental hurdle that takes time. Some guys handle it better than others. Some guys don't come back from it ever and are never the same again. I mean, that sometimes is part of it as well. So hopefully for Texas Tech, in the event in which Sorsby's unavailable, hopefully Hammond can step up and overcome that knee in a pretty short period of time and be ready to go in enough time. Because I think the knee structurally, with how quickly they've figured out how to recover, and I don't know the details and the specifics of the actual surgery itself, I've seen guys come back as soon as 6 months. I mean, it's unbelievable what they can do now.
Also think about what we were just talking about in the NFL draft, though. I mean, with Gerard McCoy.
Yeah.
I mean, that looked like a normal ACL, and then apparently there's an issue with the bone plug, and some reason it's not healing the way it's supposed to, and look how far he slides in the
100%.
draft. So
no, I mean, there's a million reasons why things like these can become problematic, but there's also a million reasons why you can get back pretty quickly and you became the exact same player that you were before. So yeah, there are outlier examples, but let's hope, in the event in which the Sorsby is unavailable this fall, hopefully Hammond can step up because he is an adequate starter in the event in which he has to be the guy.
He's got some twitch. He throws a nice ball. He gets the ball out quick. He's kind of jumpy in the pocket a little bit, but he's lively at quarterback. He went 69 for 109 last year. This is Will Hammond. 680 yards, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. As you mentioned, on the ground, 43 carries, 299 yards, 5 rushing touchdowns as well. So he, and you talked about coming in against a high-quality team like Utah. He was 13 of 16, 169, 2 touchdowns, no picks in that game. 22 of 37 for 167, 2 touchdowns and a pick against Arizona State later in the year. So he has some big game experience, some real experience. He just hasn't necessarily been the full-time starter. But at least you would have now to begin the preparation of him being your guy if this thing is figured out in a week or so that Sorsby's not going to be able to go and what that's going to look like. I think, too, the other interesting aspect will be, does Texas Tech push the envelope and try to go all in a different way? Because we've seen some of these, hey, you leave one team, you show up on our team. Like, you don't think there's quarterbacks out there that wouldn't even have to have that conversation with Texas Tech or Cody Campbell and say, I'm just going to leave my backup role here because I think I can go there and maybe be the starter. Mm-hmm. And I know there's going to be a lot of zeros that come with that.
Yeah.
Just see. Now, we also heard the NCAA say you're going to get punished heavily for that if you try to pull it off. It's not going to happen.
There's like grad students and stuff like that where, it's
graduates. Yes, you're wide open.
You're wide open. So you get a grad student. It could be something that's possible, but still, the NCAA will be looking really closely at that. Then there's the other option. Does Texas Tech go all in defending Brennan Sorsby? That's the other thing. Like, do they go all in and say, all right, and how many times have we seen this? Trying to think of some examples. I mean, Auburn in 2010, a handful of other times in which they say, we don't care. We're gonna play him anyways. You know what I mean? Like, come get us. Like, I feel like that's happened a bunch, where it's like the Bediako situation. Granted, had the
eligibility.
Yeah, well, the eligibility, but he had a temporary restraining order.
Yeah.
So he had the TRO, and then he was able to play for a bit, and then ultimately he gets run up the food chain. He ends up not being able to play, like all this other stuff. So there's some teams have said, hey, we don't care. We're going to go and come get us. So that's another angle too. And I don't know how it's all going to play out. I have no idea, but it's definitely an uncomfortable situation. It's a new age, and it won't be the last one. That's the crazy thing. We'll have examples of why you should never do this, and he won't be the last one. That's for sure.
Oh, that's almost anything in life. It just doesn't work that way. Pat Forty also shared that he turned 21 in January of 2025. So any alleged sports wagering he did before then in Ohio and Indiana would not only broken NCAA rules, but also state laws. So
I don't know about the age of gambling. You got to be 21, right? Yep.
Yeah.
So I know that I don't know the.
And that was a part of what we just read about with Hunter Decker also.
Yeah.
That he was underage, and it's one thing that he pled guilty to, and then I think it was his ask for extra eligibility was then waived. No, you're done. But Brendan Sorsby, it sounds like, could go play at community college. When was the last player that entered a supplemental draft in the NFL?
I think it's more than you realize. It's probably like one every other year. It's been a bit.
This is weird, but like supplemental draft was kind of a big deal when I was in college.
Really?
Because there was not us. We did have a player or two, but
Yeah.
there was always somebody getting in trouble. Like somebody somewhere. There was a good player.
And last second, they're like,
that was their only option.
Supplemental draft. Let's go.
Because back then you got kicked off your team. What were you going to do? You had to sit out a year.
Yeah.
If you were going to transfer somewhere.
Right.
So it was usually like, oh, so-and-so starting safety for so-and-so has entered the supplemental draft. And you're like, wait, he just got kicked off the team. So, it was almost every year there was like 1-2 guys that were decent names.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were other players that no one had ever heard of that entered.
Probably.
But it feels like it's been gone.
Well, the other thing, like even the supplemental draft, like if gambling is attached to you a little bit as a prospect coming into the NFL, is that not a little prohibitive as well?
That's going to be a bit of a red flag.
You know what I mean? Like that's a pretty big
teams.
red flag. And hey, maybe that can be a part of his past and not part of his future. I absolutely believe in change, but I mean, goodness, I don't know. That's something to take into account as well.
Per Wikipedia, now y'all take this for what it is. The last supplemental draft pick was Jalen Thompson, a safety from Washington State in 2019.
Dang, it's been that long.
Best supplemental draft pick of all time? Anybody want to throw out a name?
No clue.
Pass.
I have two for you. One was very familiar to this area. Didn't even know he was a supplemental draft pick. Bobby Humphrey.
Okay, yeah, that was worth it.
He was taken in the first, by the way.
Wow.
How about one Terrell Pryor out of Ohio State?
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay,
Remember he was suspended for taking the gold pants or whatever it was.
No, wasn't it like Tattoo Gate?
Tattoo Gate.
Yeah, in Ohio State. Like,
Don't they get the gold pants too and he sold them or something?
I don't remember.
For beating Michigan?
I don't remember. But I do remember that being
Brian Bosworth,
story.
supplemental draft pick.
Really?
Bernie Kosar, supplemental draft. We got a whole team.
There's a bunch of good ones.
We got an all-time team.
Let's go.
Dan Cilio was a supplemental draft pick. Not into radio, actually in real football.
I would not have guessed that so many big names were supplemental draft picks. For those that don't know what the supplemental draft is, by the way, because there's probably in all likelihood you've never heard that. This is a draft after the draft. So essentially in May, June of that season, the draft happens late April, early May, what have you, depending on the year. You would have the supplemental draft. A guy after the draft window closes would enter the quote supplemental draft, and teams could bid on that player. So if they say, hey, we'll give up a first round pick for that player, let's say Bobby Humphrey. Well, let's say 4 teams give up the first round pick for Bobby Humphrey. Well, the team that, let's say the Raiders wanted him, the Jets wanted him, and the Raiders had the first overall pick, so they would give up their number 1. That means they would not have a first round pick in the following season. So it'd only be 31 picks in the following season in the first round. So that's the way the supplemental draft works, in case you were curious.
There is precedent, and there are a couple articles out now saying that it is feasible, possible for him to do that. And that could be a path for him down the road. This is not, believe it or not, this is a lot. But these are not the only complications happening with Brendan Sorsby right now. There are a couple of those we need to discuss. First, discuss with our friends Polar Bear Services and what they can do.
Well, Wes and the guys have been coming to my house for a long time. I've always been very grateful to the experience I get when working with Polar Bear Services. They're incredible. And right now, it's between seasons. You have some hot, you have some cold, you have some storms. It's a tricky time of year. So make sure your home comfort system is up to the task, running the heat at night, potentially, the air conditioning during the day, potentially. They can do system tune-ups, duct cleaning, because those things really put your system to the test. Also, with the storms that are coming through today, we got to be weather aware. They can do all sorts of home electrical work, including the installation of a whole home generator. So you're not in a bind in the event in which the power goes out. Look, I've been using them forever. They've been great to me. So remember, if you have a problem with your electrical, plumbing, heater, air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR, 497-BEAR.
More complications with Brendan Sorsby and Texas Tech and Cincinnati next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Almost went right into that song, by the way.
It timed out perfectly.
I just figured I'd just start dropping lyrics. Talking Brendan Sorsby. You can tweet into the show at Mac and Cube. Hit us up on the Higginbotham hotline, 800-239-9569. Text into the show, 205-834-9450. You can watch the show live on YouTube every day, and we have some responses coming in via YouTube. Trip Tepper, one of our everyday listeners. We always appreciate Trip. Sorsby is toast. Gambling on your games equals career over. Colby commenting, I don't think you should bet on your team. And then following that up with, I don't think this is a big thing. Don't bet on the team you're on, but other than that, who cares? Okay, but he did bet on the team that he's on. So people do care.
People definitely care.
BA commenting, I thought this story dropped last year. Isn't this the one that they had screenshots?
Well, considering it's dropped yesterday,
Yeah.
might have been a different one. I don't recall.
Or maybe you're listening to a replay from 2025.
Could be. Morning off for the boys.
This is on ESPN.com now,
Correct.
today.
And on ESPN TV now. Released just a couple minutes ago. That's how Feinbaum up there.
Now, were there rumors about this a year ago? I don't recall hearing anything.
Not as it relates to Brendan Sorsby. I mean, there's always some, every offseason there's some type of story about gambling or a player's involvement. Yeah, the NBA was a big one last year. That was a big one. I don't know though.
Do people? Here's a I think a fair question. Do fans care?
That's the worst part.
And when do fans start to care? So, if you're betting on the WNBA, do you care? I would say yes, because if you're a quarterback specifically, I question your decision-making abilities. If you're gambling on the WNBA, I think we have a real problem on our hands. Because I'm very concerned about your ability to read a linebacker on an RPO or a safety via cover 1, cover 2, if you think it's an intelligent idea to bet money on the WNBA. Outside of that.
Well, some of it's easy money. You hate money, that's fine, but some of it's right.
How rich have you gotten off of it?
I haven't done it. I know better.
But you said it was easy money.
It can be easy money. Crypto's easy money. I don't see a lot of people out here doing that.
That's how Greg got so rich.
Definitely.
Crypto. Big crypto guy.
Faux show.
If it's so easy, go do
Crypto's gambling.
Go get
in
rich.
Some cases.
What do fans care? Do you care when it is all of a sudden, do you have to get to where it's the team that they're on? Do you not care until they bet on said team to lose, the team that you're on? I don't know. I don't really know where fans are on this.
I think a lot of fans are interested because it's new. I think a lot of fans engage in gambling, so they don't view it as like some massive issue in morality. I know that sounds bad, but like gambling has become,
it's not bad if it's legal,
less and less taboo, but for a long time gambling was like very taboo. I'm not saying that people didn't still do it, but like it was very taboo. You didn't talk about it. You didn't do, like, maybe in college, maybe when you were younger, I don't know. I have no idea. But I do know that it's become less and less taboo in society. Like society is open. I mean, if you look at any game, anything, like the line is right there on the box
line.
score.
We have gambling analysts who come on in our open for UFL games.
Yeah. I've been on ESPN Bet. Like I don't view if you decide to have an interest in a game on the side of a game, frankly, it's good for business. I mean, if you want to be totally frank, like it's good for business because people are going to watch to the end potentially in some cases. So like I understand why a lot of people have leaned into it, but I also think at the same time when it comes to players that are actively involved in the results of the game and actively participating on a team, like I just don't know how anyone can ever be okay with that. I don't understand how that anyone could be fine with that. That to me is a tough concept to wrap my head around.
Against your team, I get it. I think anybody would say that's a no. I'm out on that guy. But there are a lot of team out there that would say, hey, if this guy's betting on his team, I feel like that just means he's probably going to go out there and play harder. He's got more riding on it. Did we not hear that from the Pete Rose perspective? For years, people said, yeah, he's betting on himself. Everybody wants somebody to bet on themselves. Do they not?
Yes.
Literally probably where the phrase came from.
So, I don't think Pete Rose necessarily.
Well, not Pete, just I mean in general. Yeah, I'm going to go bet on myself.
But then when you start betting against your team, specifically in a player-manager role, which Pete was at times, the rare, very rare player-manager role, which I always thought would be incredible, by the way. You talk about clubhouse dynamics. Somebody questions your hustle. You're like, okay, you're not playing in the second leg of this doubleheader today. because I'm the manager.
Speaking of hustle,
You're out of the lineup.
Go do stadium steps.
Yeah, stadium steps. They're going to be, you have to dodge the popcorn vendors, but you're going to run stadium steps here in the second leg of this doubleheader.
Up downs.
Yes.
During the game.
During the game, right over there in the bullpen.
Ross Twing tweets in, saw a story yesterday, said Tech could reach out to Dylan Raiola. Is that possible? Also, oh boy, TJ Finley. It's probably like Texas Tech, reach out. I'll suit up for my 12th season of college football. He would. Don't know where the eligibility realistically is on that. I know he was going to try it. Don't know if that's there or not. What percentage of our listeners do you think gamble on sports?
A lot.
80?
No, probably not that high.
60?
I was thinking 40.
I'd say 40 or 50.
Yeah.
I think it's more than 40. But I don't know. I don't do it. I don't have a problem with it, but there's a reason that I don't do it. Number one, I'm not great at it. And number two, I know what it leads to.
Yeah,
and
we've heard your picks on this show. We know you're not good at it. It's fine.
Well, it's all a lot. I mean, realistically, listen, this is not hard to figure out if you just do a little research. But like, my personality is not good for that. Like, I don't need to do that. What does that look for, John?
Well, I was just looking down, seeing if I need to write down something. That's all. Nothing else.
No, I
Wasn't
mean,
reacting to
I
your
have a
volatile personality.
consumption problem. Like, my personality is consumption is not a good thing for me. I don't control that well in a lot of facets of life. So I don't need to gamble on sports. Also, I like sports.
That's
Correct.
enough.
It's the same thing with fantasy football. I don't need football is not a fantasy for me. I actually just like football. Like, I don't have to fantasize about it. I like to just watch it. So I don't need to gamble on a MAC game on Tuesday to actually just enjoy the game. I want to see how bad that left guard really is.
I understand, though, why people want to have a rooting interest in the outcome.
Yeah, and I'm not mad at that at all.
Same reason why March Madness was so huge. Like, you don't have to have money on the individual games, but you have your bracket, so you have a rooting interest. Therefore, it becomes the most widely consumable event in our country for a few days. Like, I get it. I totally get it. So, I mean, to me, though, it's different when you're a player. You just have to know that. Like, you already have something on the line. Like, your team winning and losing the game, everything's centered around your life.
Yeah.
Depends on winning and losing the game. Why do you need more on it? I don't get it.
No, it's fair. All right, we'll continue this conversation, get to your tweets, get to your text next right here on Jocks. So realistically, what would the options be for Texas Tech? I don't know, Greg, if they look to go find another quarterback. I think so much of this depends on where Will Hammond is.
Yeah.
And you do bring in Tulsa transfer Kirk Francis, who has experience to be a backup that if he had to go in a game has at least managed live college football, which is a plus.
Yeah.
So I would doubt that there is a different signing for Texas Tech of another quarterback leading into this season.
I think it would disrupt the room and like the crash course that you would have to go on to learn the offense, get up to speed, develop the chemistry, develop the continuity. These guys have been there, right? You're bringing someone in now. You're disrupting the actual locker room itself. Like, I don't know. I think you just kind of stick with what you know, hope for the best with the recovery of Sorsby's treatment and clarification on Sorsby's eligibility, and then hope also for the best when it comes to Will Hammond's knee recovery.
All right, we'll continue talking Texas Tech and their quarterback situation, also get back into the NFL draft. Players that we think will have the most success from each round. We'll discuss that next hour on Jocks.